salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion we approve tonight's agenda and also the approval of the regular board meeting from 9:10.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Steve to approve the agenda and the board meetings from September 10th, and a second by Marcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Junior high after Winter Lakes Elementary, we have one for the junior high by Albert Dixon.
I'll make a motion to amend our current agenda and add under 2.0 a second school spotlight for the Coquille Junior High by Albert Dixon.
Under agenda to add the junior high as a school spotlight. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's talk real quick about these future meetings. In 2 weeks is the road show at the ESD, which the road show is starting at 7, but at 5:30 is the training about public meeting law. So if you're planning to attend, let Julie know. I know Marcia said she is, and I'm planning on attending, so I don't know if anyone else is, but let Julie know so she can register you. And then next month for our regular board meeting, we're doing another work session, which is going to be also superintendent.
It's probably a bowl. It's probably a bowl game night.
Okay, let's move with planning it then.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to 2.0 and turn the time over to Tanya Cinco to talk about Winter Lakes Elementary.
Sean, would you mind queuing up our presentation? Okay, so good evening, school board. I am addressing you tonight as the principal of Winter Lakes Elementary, not the curriculum director. I'm sure you'll notice that there are some embellishments on the tables in front of you, and I'll explain why you have them there and also why this is on my finger. But I did bring some guests apart from many-legged guests, and I'd like to introduce them to you, and one of them also brought their adult. So this is Ms. Angie Fano. She's one of our EAs at SLC. This is Zach Scott, and he is one of our junior high students. He's going to talk to you about our road program. This is Ms. Brandy Hoyle. She is our EA in the resource room. This is Aiden Sweet, and he is in Mr. Anderson's robotics class, and he's here for general support. And then this is Estelle Greer, and she's going to talk to you about the food handler card program that we have. And then this is Mr. Chris Anderson, who's my dean of students and also teaches 6th and 8th grade ELA and runs a programming elective and social science. I do want to let the board know that one of the things that was brought to my attention was we really needed to update our website. So the inimitable Cheryl Johnson helped me, gave me a quick, fast tutorial, and we do have a newsletter. So if Mr. Wirebaugh would click on our newsletter link for us. You don't need to read the staff, but what's important is this picture. It's for Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher said, I just realized I put the crazy cat lady at the building that has stray cats everywhere. I said, the universe has spoken and decisions were made. This is Little Bit. Little Bit is the unofficial campus pet. He's not in the campus, but he's campus adjacent, and he may or may not get fed by one of my employees. Let's be clear, it's not me. You can see all the information about our Winter Lake staff. It is presented in our newsletter. Go next. We have a morning routine at Winter Lakes. We're not going to do the first part of our morning routine for you because we've already recited the Pledge of Allegiance. But at precisely 8:21, everybody on my campus convenes in the gym. And at that time, we recite the Pledge of Allegiance chorally. We choose a patriotic song because we are the Patriots, and so far we've worked on the Star Spangled Banner, My Country 'Tis of Thee, and America the Beautiful. And I did have a couple of student volunteers, maybe not so much volunteers. Will you come up? We did a campus challenge where we asked classrooms to illustrate. Taxman, hey, front center, yo. Will you guys come and hold this so that the board can see it, please? Yeah. So this is from, oh, thank you. Hey, all of you. This is from Miss Mary's 4th and 5th grade class. They chose to illustrate, I bet you can guess, which song is this that they illustrated? That's a good guess. Look in the sky.
Oh, Star Spangled Banner.
Correct. Now, it was so cute because there's a peacock in here, I'm told, there's a rabbit. We have some graves, but also they asked permission if they could draw the bombs bursting in air because they're being aware of, school climate. So Miss Mary's class is going to have a classroom word. So anyway, thank you. All right. So we also, when we have a birthday, and I'm a crazy person, so I have a post-it like this that has everybody's birthday on it by month, and when it's their birthday, one of the things we do is we serenade them in English, and then either French or Spanish, so that they're learning how to sing happy birthday in those languages. We did a September school-wide project with Mr. Wirebaugh would click. I used my office as an example, and I had kids come in and I said, look around my office. What do you think are things that I like? Just by looking in my office. And of course, the theme of cats came out straight away, which is a true statement, rocks and friends. So they were very insightful. They came in as classroom groups and did a little tour and figured out what they would like to present, and they're all about me projects, and many of those went home with families at our open house. We declared the week of the woolly bear, and that's why I have a woolly bear in my hand, and that's why you have woolly bears on your tables. These are also woolly bears that were made in large scale. Notice the improvisation of the paper. They said we didn't have black and orange pipe cleaners, so we couldn't really make those. And so we also have gone out on blocks, first, second, or K1, sorry, and 4th, 5th went out, and we have a carton of woolly bears. Some classrooms have them, and they're hoping to watch them go into the pupa and then chrysalis and come out as the moths that they are. They're very beautiful. So we did a variety of activities, and behind my right side of the board, we had tasks that we did as a class about woolly bears, learning about them, and the documents that you have on your tables that are blank. That was an activity Ms. Brandy Coyle came up with for our kids. They had to find out some traits about the woolly bears, urban legends about the woolly bears. Then they were asked to do some different creative projects with woolly bears. They really like to make a Minecraft character or a Marvel superhero out of a woolly bear. What would it be like? On this side is the answers that were generated into junior high from the activity about the woolly bears and their stripes, and then the predictions about the weather that the classes made all together. So this is one kind of campus-wide activity. Board members, if you could, I know you probably don't want to come to the pumpkin patch on the 14th because it's going to be a lot, but we'd love it if you'd rock out with us on the 17th. From 1 to 2:15, we're going to do some rock painting as an entire campus. We are having game and costume night on October 29th, and we're going to make that a family-friendly event, so we have games for everybody. We got to take some candids. Some of these pictures include Mr. Alex and his K1 class that wants to plant some wildflowers, and just some of the kids at play. Next slide, please. Some further candids, when you get to work at like 5:30 in the morning, you get to see the sunrise over your campus, which is delightful. Swings are always a big hit. Every kid, every age loves to be on the swings, and you have some bigs and littles at play. We did some chalk art the other day. Notice that my students, these are 2nd and 3rd grade kids, shamed me with their art skills, so it's always embarrassing. Let's go to the next one. So I'd like to kind of segue into some student voice. Miss Mary's class is the gallery walk around you, and your show and tell artifacts came from Mrs. Dascom, who is our SLC teacher. Miss Mary and Mrs. Gallagher's homeroom, and we have our guests who are going to come up and join us next. If you go to the next slide. I'm going to invite Mrs. Kim Gallagher up if she'd like to talk to you about the kids that aren't always in person on campus and a special event that she experienced this week.
So part of Winter Lakes is we have our in-person students and we also have our online students. And our online students for me are a particular passion because I love building relationships with those families that we have at home. I feel that it's very important to keep our enrollment up, to have that time to offer for those students. So I have a Google Calendar that has a link that goes out to all my students. If they need help with math or science or any of my subjects, They just click a link and can schedule an appointment with me. I apologize, I was just over at volleyball screaming, so I'm a little hoarse. And some of this is when they're going to present projects. So I met with Miss Aubrey this week, and she presented her science project on carbon to me. So I got to be on a Google Meet with her. She set up a presentation. She gave it to me. I was able to give feedback and interact with her. And this particular student I get to meet with every week right now. My at-home students, I encourage to meet with me every 1 to 2 weeks in the beginning of the school year as they're learning how to work our platform. Because there is a huge learning curve to effectively work our learning platform. So this is just one of the examples of what I get to do after our in-person students leave. Okay, next slide please, Sean. So last year I did a food handler's card, and I had 11 students take that class. 10 of them got their food handler's card for the state of Oregon. And this year, it was a pretty big hit. So this year, our numbers of students that are wanting to do that are so much larger. So I'm working with the restaurant because I can only take so many students at a time to the restaurant so that the restaurant can still run effectively and the students can get a good grasp of what it's like to work at a restaurant. So I'm going to turn it over to Estelle, and Estelle's going to give you a rundown of what it was like to work at the restaurant.
Read it.
Go ahead and go to the next one, Sean. Thank you.
All the students worked at different stations. We took drinks, drink orders, preparing salads, and working in the kitchen with the cooks, and working the dish pit, serving food, and bussing and cleaning the tables. The best part of the day was applying the final touches to the meals.
Okay, and I will add one more thing. One of our other lessons, I do a lot with rabbits and rabbit 4-H, and I have, we'll just say a lot of rabbits. We're not going to give a number. And one of our electives that we just wrapped up this month was learning about rabbits. So I brought rabbits to school. There may have been a fire drill when there was rabbits everywhere in my classroom, which added a lot of excitement getting the kids out and keeping the rabbits in. But the kids learn how to handle them. They learn how to care for them. They learn about nutrition. And this month, we really learned about the digestive system, which is very similar to ours. So, Aiden, would you like to talk about what it's like to work with the rabbits?
People fluffy, and I learned rabbits can't vomit, so yeah.
That is very true. Their esophagus is a one-way street.
Wow. Nice work. Shall we turn it over to Zach and Chris Anderson? Thank you, Mrs. Gallagher. Estelle? Aiden? Remember to catch her on. Good job, guys. And Mr. Anderson with Zach to talk to you about our ROVE.
Evening, board members. ROVE, or ROV, stands for Remotely Operated Vehicle. And in this case, we participated in a competition at the state level in designing, building, and completing tasks with a submersible remote operated vehicle. The students, let me read the mission statement of what this thing is all about so it's clear to you. So, 10 years and tasks of students competing to design and build a remotely operated vehicle and the necessary sensors, tooling, and complementary technologies to monitor the health of the aquatic habitats of our blue planet. So we can proactively and competently answer the question, how do we move from the ocean we have to the ocean we want? So in this scientific competition, students design vehicles that have to complete a series of tasks, underwater missions. They have to learn a bunch of things about electronics, and they also have to run this as if it's a business. It's not just a team effort. They have to make a corporation. So Zach, what was the name of the corporation that you guys?
The Synodic Psychos Industries.
Synodic Psychos Industries. And how many people were part of the corporation? them all up there lined up, I think? Is there 8 of you?
I believe so.
All right. And Zach is currently wearing the corporation's uniform. Take a spin for them. They designed these themselves. And as part of the corporation, they had to come up with a budget. They had to do shopping lists. They had to do everything that goes into designing and building a road-operated vehicle. They had to learn soldering and electronic safety, and, well, it's all part of it. So Zach and others designed and soldered together all of the circuitry that goes into this, learned electronic safety, and learned even computer programming to plug this thing into a tablet that would read off of the various sensors that they designed for. All done, yeah, as a team. So Zach, what was one of your favorite things about the project?
I would just getting to go up to Newport and competing.
And you weren't in charge of this vehicle so much as our secondary vehicle, which, what did it do?
The secondary vehicle just went up and down and measured the temperature of the water. And we had to graph what we did, what the float registered.
So they had to actively report the metrics that the machine gathered and to the judge. The judge would say if they were accurate or not. And then this device here had multiple arms that we attached right there. They completed underwater tasks. We used the 3D printer to design our own payloads for this thing. And Zach, what was the particular challenge you had with designing those?
They had to at least be able to hook onto the items because a lot of them would just slip off or a lot of failed prints happen.
It's a real challenge. And then it was really cool to go see what 13 other schools did with this. Ours was on arguably the most limited budget of, I think, a little less than $200 to get everything set up. Schools out of Astoria and Portland had very elaborate devices. And we actually beat them with our little bit of electric tape and flotation device.
That's how we do it in the country. That's how we do it.
That's how we did in the competition.
That's how we do it.
Very well.
It was our first time. We placed right in the middle out of 11 in our category. And we're going to go again this year with 2 different vehicles. We have to design 2 brand new vehicles for 2 stages of the competition. We'll see how we do. Nationals this last year competed in the summer in Lake Superior, doing real tasks with marine life, and see if we get there.
Thank you, Zach and Mr.
Thank you.
Anderson.
Wow.
Appreciate it. Do you have any questions for us?
I love the name. I think that's great. I don't know how you came up with it, but I think it's very neat. Yeah. And I also all the pictures and the uniform. I really like that they are all at the restaurant and then here too. I think that shows a sense of pride and that they're all together and that unity in there and that everybody knows who's who there. So I think that's a great thing that you added towards that. Just so.
Kim Gallagher was the one behind the, the prints of the shirts and all that.
She does some printing in her space as well, and we're looking to do some further printing of apparel and other things.
I have to keep that in mind.
Look for our Makers Market in April.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
First of all, I want to thank the board for allowing the amendment for us to add on tonight. We had a presentation ready, and the kids just wanted to push through and do it, which I'm very proud of them. So presenting for Coquille Junior Senior High tonight is our 7th and 8th grade ELA English Language Arts teacher, Miss Little, and I'll let her do the introduction.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. All right. Hi, board. I'm Mrs. Little, and this is my 4th year working here at Coquille Junior Senior High School. And today I brought along with me 2 of my ELA students. So first I have Abby, And then I have, and they're going to help talk with me about some of the stuff we've been working on in ELA recently. So one thing that I really love about teaching junior high language arts is that junior high is a time for students to find their voice. And I really like helping them find their voice through different types of writing assignments, presentations, and different types of presentation practice. Something new that I've been trying this year is this thing called First Chapter Friday. So every Friday when we have school, I read the chapter of a new book each week, and I let the kids do a little review. They give it 1 out of 5 stars, and they tell me if they like the book, or they also give me recommendations on things that they would like for me to read to the class. So not this last Friday, but the Friday before last, I had a student be like, can we please read the first chapter out of The Lightning Thief? And I was like, absolutely we can. And the class absolutely loved it, and I really love getting those recommendations from students, and I'm always trying to find new ideas to expose them to literature. So, in addition to that, we've done a couple of writing assignment and art projects this year already. So, we did this assignment with my 7th graders called All About Me, and it is a presentation that they make so I can get to know them a little bit better. It's really challenging when you start coming to a new school, and you really don't know any of the teachers, and you don't really know a lot about the students from a teacher's perspective. So this is an opportunity that I give to my students to be creative, answer some fun writing prompts, and also use their own style to express themselves. So I'm going to hand it over to Abby. That way she can talk a little bit about her All About Me project.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm one of Miss Little's 7th graders. Probably one of her favorites because, you know, who wouldn't love me? So something we did was an All About Me project, which was a slideshow where we got to tell about ourselves and stuff that we like to do. So what we did was we used Canva, which is like, you know, a slideshow making thing. And I really enjoyed this because we got to have like creative freedom, and it wasn't like, you know, it was one of our first projects of the year, so we didn't have to write a whole essay, which is kind of nerve-wracking at a new school, so we just made a little presentation just to share with Miss Little to get her to learn about us. Something else that I liked was she gave us like an outline and prompts, so we were able to like get to be more directed and figure out what we wanted to do for our presentation, and so she could get to learn about us better and we could have fun doing it.
All right, thank you, Abby. All right, and in addition to that project with my 8th graders, I already know most of these guys. And I'm like, what do I do? And so I can make everybody happy. And all of them, like the first day of school, they're like, Miss Little, like this is what we did this summer. And I was like, I have the greatest idea. I'm gonna give them an assignment about something they can write about that they did this summer, or they can even talk about something they did a previous summer, or just a fun event that they did, in case they just didn't do something over the summer. Because we do have those students out there who don't really do anything over the summer. So I wanna make sure that they feel included as well. So what I do is I have them write a short essay about an experience that they had, and then in addition to that, they get to create a collage. So they get to use magazines, different types of colored paper, and they also get to include photos, if they choose to, that they took on that trip. And so here I brought Miley with me, who's one of my 8th graders, and she's gonna go ahead and talk about her summer experience project.
I'm Miley. I'm in Miss Little's 8th grade ELA class, and in ELA we wrote about our summer experience. And we used an outline first to like help us make before the essay so we could do really good on our essay, and we made the collage to represent our experiences and all the fun that we had, and the project helped us practice our writing, staying organized, and being more creative.
All right, thank you, Miley. All right, and so in addition to being the ELA teacher at the school, I also have this awesome opportunity to be the leadership teacher for the junior high as well. And Abby's one of my leadership students. And one thing that I really love about junior high leadership, in addition to just teaching ELA, is I get to interact with a lot of students that I don't necessarily have in my class also. I get to branch out and meet more students, and then find different activities around the school that we can do to better promote like student life. One thing that we just did a few weekends ago is we came in on Saturday and we decorated the junior high halls for Halloween. And this was a really fun bonding experience between like me and my students. The students had a great time, and it was a really fun surprise to come to on Monday, and a lot of kids seemed to really enjoy it. And it's a great way to kind of get into the seasonal spirit. In addition to that, we're also working on some skits right now for Lincoln Lions. We're going to go to one of their character trait assemblies, and this is a project that my leadership students were really, really excited to do also. And so, if you have any questions for us, we'd love to answer them.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say that your enthusiasm and creativity, I can feel it all the way up here. No wonder your kids love you. Yeah, and I'm sure they're all your favorites. That's what my mom says to all of her grandkids. You're all my favorite.
They always ask me, who's your favorite? I'm like, everybody.
Yeah. So great job. I love it.
All right, thank you. Do you have any questions for my students here?
Are you still going to do your Socratic seminar?
Oh, yes,
That's
definitely.
Later in the year, I know.
Yes, when we get to our novel study, we do that in the spring, and I love doing our Socratic seminars. Do you want me to talk about that, or?
You don't have to. I know it was a big thing. My son enjoyed it last year.
Yes, I really enjoy doing those Socratic seminars. It's a great way to debate and talk about opinions in the story, discuss characters, opinions we have about those characters. And our whole purpose of that is to have a civil conversation with one another. All right. Thank you, board.
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Okay, we'll move on to 3.0 to turn the time over to Tanya Cinco for our integrated programs.
Different hat.
Curriculum director hat now. One of the tasks that we have when we receive funding from the state or the federal government is that we report, and then we have to share our findings publicly, and that looks like posting it to our webpage and proving that we have indeed spent the money that we were given in the way that we reported. So that is the purpose of tonight's presentation about our integrated programs. These are high school success, student investment account, our early intervention indicator system, also now our early literacy grant. All of these are reported under this umbrella. And so the tasks that we have done so far in allocating and spending out these funds, we met on the 27th and January 22nd last year with our different campus teams. We drafted our SIP plans, those are our continuous improvement plans by building, and we shared those out on the 22nd. We had surveyed our community, and we took a look at all that data, analyzed it, disaggregated it, talked about focal groups, talked about findings and trends that we saw. This is again from last year, because we're referencing what we spent last year. We conducted some empathy interviews at Ms. Yee's campus. She had some students selected who spoke to us about attendance and just kind of impressions of school in general. And we also conducted a survey at Lincoln School of Early Learning surrounding attendance and what barriers might we find. Next slide, please. So we learned that as we already were, we were going to continue to focus on improving academic achievement in English, math, and science, especially looking at those students who are performing below grade level. And the board has generously continued to support our adoption on ODE's schedule of curriculum that will support our teachers in providing instruction to our students. We continued to focus last year, and we are this year as well, on attendance. Predominantly Lincoln School of Early Learning, we know that we are at a low attendance rate, and we know that that is something that our state looks at and reports about our district on. And we are continuing to partner with CVE and also the junior senior high school in figuring out what is it that works and how can we support kids in getting to school. We are continuing in the social emotional learning. The high school junior and senior high school already had a time kind of carved out, but they've made a more intentional carve out time where that social emotional instruction is happening. And Mr. Dixon's really supporting that. Our social emotional counselors are also working to support in that Wayfinder instruction. The ESD has been a strong partner in providing us free workbooks. We are not paying for the workbooks that support that curriculum. And so that has been a real benefit, and they've been very useful in our elementary grade bands. We continue to focus on behaviors and use funding to purchase people's labor and skills so that we can support our students who struggle with dysregulation and just support them in general. From our high school success, we pay for our 2 academic counselors. That is Miss Catherine Allred and Misty Snively. At Winter Lakes, we pay for one of our social emotional counselors from this particular stream. We pay for our ag teacher at Miss Yee's building, and we pay for part of cosmetology salary at Mrs. Clapper's building. In our student investment account, and you can see the list is far longer of what we've paid for here because it's a larger funding stream for us. And you'll notice again that the trend is we are purchasing people to support our children. That's been kind of a real strong trend and a value in our district, and we are proud that we can continue to do that in various areas such as a first grade teacher, additional counseling, having somebody standing before you who is trying to coordinate and make sure that curriculum's adopted and that trainings are scheduled and that resources are allocated. We did pay for our Jumpstart Kindergarten from this source, our equity team, which is a state law that we must have one, and then additional support for CTE programming and our simulator EA, who is Aaron Roberts at the high school. The early intervention system is a pretty small revenue stream, so we paid tech team stipends. And then in early literacy, this is one of the new grants that's under this umbrella. It is focused on supporting students age 3 to grade 3. So we did purchase curriculum for Miss May's building. It's called Frog Street, and it supports our kids that are in pre-K and some of them that are in the daycare. We also purchased some other phonic interventions called Gardner's New Alphabet and Secret Stories. It teaches kids all the phonic sounds and rules and exceptions and things like this. We do have a targeted tutor at Lincoln, which is an EA, and we, again, purchased a lot of books to support literacy and build the library further. We also conducted UFly, which is the University of Florida. It's another way of approaching. Armando said something really inspiring in our admin meeting earlier, which is, teachers have this curriculum and they think that that's all they can use and that they have to go beginning to end. And Mr. Gallagher really echoed that. And what I love about our teachers and what they're doing is, in addition to what the board generously provides us to purchase, they are also seeking out those other things that they know are going to work for their kids. And the amazing thing about UFly is free. No cost at all. And that is the end of all of the revenue stream reporting that are under integrated programs. Huge thank you to Denise. Without her support and reporting on the budgeting side, we wouldn't get there because you didn't hire me to be the numbers person, and good job, because Denise is the numbers person. And I'm the narrator, and I love doing that piece. Do you have any questions for me about how we chose to allocate those funds and where the money was spent? Well, we're on to another round of planning and reporting, so thank you, and thanks for continuing to support us in that way.
Thank you, Tanya. All right, let's move to 4.0, board goals. Strive to be the best employer on the South Coast. Okay.
So we're here to talk about the board goal of striving to be the best employer on the South Coast. So we did a little bit of digging into regional salaries. This is for the certified staff. This is entry level. We're a little bit above the middle here. This is where we're getting like the younger families just moving in. It is a lower salary, but if they're taking advantage of things like the daycare, then this is a huge benefit to them. And this is kind of mid-level of a career and really acknowledging the investment in the master's degree. And then this is the maximum step, maximum degree available. And so when we get young families that move in and they're in that low salary range, but they can see if they keep working for Coquille and they keep working towards those degrees, they can move up and they can be at the very, very top. Then we move to the classified salary, and this is for the educational assistant. We did 3 different work groups. This is the EA, not SPED, it's just the general ed EA. Go ahead and go to the next one. This one is the custodian, again right there in the middle. And secretary, we are at the top. So then we have our new language. The language that's up there at the top is specifically from the new contract that we just negotiated with the classified staff. And so the district is going to fully fund medical insurance for the employee and spouse, the employee children, the employee and family. So they're not going to have any out-of-pocket premium costs for those staff members. And then we had a total of 63 staff members that signed up for this Plan 5 with the HRA, and then 29 staff members opted out and are receiving a $500 stipend while they're covered under other insurance. And then the next big benefit that we have for working in Coquille is the daycare. So we have 12 classified staff members, 14 certified staff members use the daycare, which is a total of 31 staff member children this year, and that's for $10 a month. And what I found online is regionally, daycare for full-time can range from $1,000 to $2,300 a month, so that's an incredible savings for our family. And I did try to get a couple people to come in and talk about daycare and how it works really well for them this year, but all I got was a quote saying that it's an amazing opportunity. That's what I have. Do we have any questions? If they're insurance related, I'm probably going to tap in Denise.
I have one quick question on the slide that you had for classified. You had, I thought I saw that it was like in between steps 6, 7, and 8. How about when how are we compared for new employees and attracting new employees to the district when we need them? So step 1.
I actually didn't look at that data. I can look at it though and then get it for you.
We looked at it.
I really did look at the top for all of the districts in our area. What's the most that people can get? Mm-hmm. When we hire somebody, I'm trying to get their experience to match out so that I can pay them as much as possible. Wayne loves that. Denise loves that when I'm trying to spend as much money as possible when we're hiring new people. But it really is helping me recruit and then retain the people that we want in our district.
So we're not really hiring them in at step 1 then, is what I'm hearing you say.
I try not to. I try to get people in as much experience as possible. But we did last year, I think all of the EAs that we hired at the beginning of the year last year, all of them were step 1. This year we've gotten some more people with a little bit more experience.
Okay. That was my question because we talked about new families coming into the area, so I was wondering on that same level how are...
Yeah, I will get you that. I'll get you the same information. It's real quick. I have it. I just didn't look at it. Any other questions? Jeff didn't get to talk at all.
Well, we also have signing bonuses, and we also have some things that we're negotiating into the contract for special education teachers, which is pretty helps attract to that field.
The biggest benefit that we were able to add in this last cycle is definitely that insurance. For us to be able to have that advertising chip that we are able to pay not only for the employee but up to their full family, cover that premium for them, that is a game changer for our employees, and I do believe that's something that's going to help us attract more and better highly qualified candidates in the future. Insurance is a big deal, and we noticed that for some of our classified employees, I won't mention any names, but for some of them, that is going to be over a $500 savings from what they were having to take out of their check to pay for their family, and they're not going to have to do that. Obviously, this does limit their choices because as in that slide, they only have two. You either Plan 5 or you're either HRA or HSA. It's one or the other, but the benefit of not having to have out-of-pocket costs for that premium, and we're able to, through our HRA, buy the deductibles down for our employees, tremendous savings in a very troubling time in insurance. So that was a huge add for us, as well as getting 3-year contracts for both certified and for classified. Knowing people know what they're going to get paid for a longer period of time, they can make accurate plans for themselves and their families. So very excited about getting those contracts settled, adding insurance. And you can see we may not be the highest in every category, but if you really look at everything that we're doing in the Coquille School District for our employees, based on salary, based on insurance, based on building and work environments, and also with our daycare, we really, truly are the best employer on the South Coast, in my opinion.
Now if we could just figure out housing.
Yeah, we do need a new housing development somewhere so we can bring in more workers,
Yep.
more families.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll move on to our written reports. Any questions for Tiffany for Winter Lakes High School? I know you've added students, so that's good news. Any questions? Okay, any questions for Tanya? We just got a bunch of presentations from her about Winter Lakes Elementary, or her curriculum director report. I think you probably answered any questions you might have. Okay. How about for, Albert Dixon for the junior high, Coquille Junior High? We also had a presentation there. Okay, for Paige E for the Coquille Senior High School, any questions for her?
Paige, can you tell me, I saw that the homecoming parade is on the 17th, but there's not a time on that. When do they usually, and do they, I'm guessing they start at the high school and the route goes?
Yeah, the start of the high school, the route kind of goes by CBE, by Lincoln, and then downtown. I think it's like 11:15 is when it starts, but we'll push something out on Facebook.
Perfect.
So the whole community can see.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, any questions for Amy about Lincoln School of Early Learning? Oh, I did? Did I skip one? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll come back to you next. So any questions for Amy? All right, any questions for Armando for Coquille Valley Elementary School? Okay, any questions for Tony, our athletic director?
Tony, is the report correct when it says the 24-25 high school basketball schedules are complete?
Well, of course they are. But yeah, forgot to update that.
25-26. And then the last one where it says OSA classifications and districting, when it says September 06 to June 2010. I'm not sure, but I want you to know I read your report.
So of course, but that is a biggie.
Yeah.
By December 15th, OSA will once again reconfigure schools and leave. And that'll begin in the fall of 26 for 4 years.
Are they going to go to less classifications? Is that what you've heard, or you don't know yet?
Don't know yet. They just had the first meeting the Monday of this week, so information hasn't really come out about what the new direction is at this point.
You feel like we're going to change classifications, Tony?
No.
And then I saw the NFHS in here. I was going to ask until I read it, but is it now or when it will start?
Yes, we started a few weeks back.
Oh, we did. Okay.
And if you want to review anything, you can go down to the on-demand and see our Cotton Grove game or
I must have the wrong link or
volleyball
something.
games are
Yeah.
on there.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Sean, our technology supervisor? Okay, any questions for Marcy about our food services? questions for Nate, our transportation supervisor?
Great find on the new truck.
Okay, any questions for John Owens, our school resource deputy?
I love this small report. It's nice when your reports are small.
Meaning that there wasn't problems
Yes,
that he had?
yes.
I did see that you had to speak to a student about driving conditions, and I'm hoping it wasn't my student.
Same thing.
I finally saw the driver's ed car out and about in the morning.
Yeah.
Guess we're doing good.
What time do you start that at?
We start at 7, and we go till about 7:50. Got 4 students, very good students, parents have had them out to drive, which is nice. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. We're about halfway through right now.
Good. Okay, any questions for our assistant superintendent, Jeff, about, well, special programs or maintenance? Keeping up on maintenance? It's a big job.
I feel like we got ahead this month a little bit.
Okay.
Wow, nice.
Okay.
Good.
Well, I know there's challenges in both those areas, so keep up the good work. All right, let's go on to 6.0, our fiscal director's report. So I'll turn the time over to Denise.
Hello. So this past week, our auditors were here and they were looking over, we were giving them all of the documentation for 24-25 school year. They were here for the week and things went well. And so we still don't know the results on our audit yet, but we will. And we'll present that in either January or February when we get the reports back. But it went well. The business office did a fantastic job. The district did a good job of maintaining and doing all of the stuff of getting what we needed for the auditors. If you look on page 3, it is one of the pages that you can see. It's a consolidated, so it's not as tiny, so that you can actually read it. So you can see our first column is the budgeted amount. And then you can see our year-to-date actuals through our current month, which this one does go through August. And so you can see that information there. You can see what we've encumbered. So you can kind of see where we are heading as of this time right now towards the end of the year. Time is flying so fast, it'll be here before you know it. It's crazy. But we're not under the $1 million contingency that we did have. And if we were at this point, at this stage, I'd be a little concerned, but we're not. So
Denise,
we're holding strong.
You said page 3, but I think is it number 34, page 34 that you're?
35. She means
35.
Okay.
Page 3 of the fiscal report stuff, sorry. I didn't see Julie put the pages down there. So, no, it's okay. So if you have any questions at all on that information, let me know. It's just a little bit, you can read it a little bit more, it's bigger.
You said this is the, okay.
It's on page 35, it is the year, it shows
So the
you
year-to-date
the
actuals
year-to-date.
through current month, that's September, even though this,
No,
right?
it's through August.
Always
Because
a month behind.
Because we're always a month behind because we're doing our board meetings earlier than we were last year. And so to get all of that information, sometimes we're still wrapping things up.
Okay, so this one, Marcia, this one says June 30, 2026, and this one says August. Are you sure?
Okay, it goes for this period ending, and it's going all the way through to the end of the year.
So is it?
So this has the first column is the adopted budget, the year-to-date actuals through the current month, which is August. Then you have the encumbrances.
I think it's this,
No, it's the one under
this one?
that one. Yes. So it's the year-to-date actuals. You can see it. We've spent thus far $3,612,000. That's what we've spent thus far through the end of August. And we've encumbered $15,966,000. sorry, that's for our revenue, and then we've got our expenses down below.
So the section up top that says for period ending June 30, 26, that's because that's when this budget year ends?
When our budget year
Right,
ends.
so I was just helping, like, does that make sense? Like,
It
this
does
is for
now.
the.
It does now.
Yeah.
Because this is year to date, so
Got it.
I'm showing that's when it is ending, but through the current month, and that would be August. At this point, we're always 1 month behind. So November, we'll be going over, well, actually,
September.
September's information.
Yeah, because you won't have October wrapped up because
No,
we're too early in the.
we won't have it wrapped
So
up.
we're 2 months behind.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, technically date-wise.
Yeah, like 6 weeks from, yeah.
Right, because it's September, and I could not get September's, all of that wrapped up.
But we agreed that that was okay.
Yes.
Because we wanted the second week
Yes.
instead of the third week.
Yes.
So we all said yes.
That was the
We will, we
That
will
was the discussion.
be okay with that.
Yes.
When do you wrap up your end of month usually?
I don't get the bank statements until the beginning of October, or the beginning of any particular month. And so it does take a little bit of time to go through and do the bank reconciliations, but then to also make sure that all the expenses have been categorized correctly. So it usually takes me a couple of weeks. So if we had the meetings on the third Wednesday, I would have it in time to be able to get it to you that soon. I don't want to give you wrong information and say,
My
well,
month end is the 10th of every month, so I would never be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. So it takes time.
Any other questions for Denise? All right, let's move on to 7.0, Superintendent's Report.
All right, I have a population report as of September 30th. You'll see that we're at that 1201 number. If the board remembers, we set our budget on 1,200 students. So 1201 sounds good. However, not all of our students attend school full-time. We do have some part-time students. So if you look at our actual enrollment, it's going to be slightly less than that. We have our October 1 report that we have to submit to ODE, and I'll let you know what that final number is once we're able to make that report. But excited that we hit 1201, but I wish we were actually a little bit more, and optimistic that we will continue to see more students as the year goes on, but it's not the end of the world. And then I did want to also point out, coming up in your action discussion items, you have some conversation. The first one in action discussion is going to be asking the board to concrete removal. There's a bid in your packet from Johnson Rock and I did not bring my glasses, I apologize. I believe that says
9613.
Yep. Steve.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve. So asking you to approve that, to remove that concrete slab that we walked on tonight, and then any additional items will be at cost plus 10% based on the contract here. And then there's also a letter from HGE and from Joe Slack. There were 3 bids to do that site surveying of that site. One of the bids came in at 5,000, I believe that's 9,300, and I can't read the last one.
15,000.
Thank you. So, asking the board to approve the bid for 5,000. That's within our budgeted number. And the last thing that will be coming up in action discussion will be asking the board to approve junior high baseball and softball. That was something that was actually first brought to our attention by board member Lucas Taylor. I asked Tony to do some research into that, and I think Tony has a reasonable plan on how we can add baseball and softball into our junior high sports. By bringing them into the school sports, we would hire the coaches, so we would have control over who was coaching, control over scheduling facilities, scheduling games, and also making sure that students had adequate equipment. So that way students that didn't necessarily have the money to be able to afford to play baseball or softball, we'd be able to make sure that there was equipment provided for them. Any kind of outside of school sports can be extremely expensive for families, and by being able to take this over as a school district, I think will provide more opportunities for more kids and continue to feed our high school programs. Some of you might remember this last spring, we did not have enough boys for a high school program, and a big part of that is not having enough kids coming up through the feeder programs. And I can say that our younger youth baseball numbers are outstanding. We did have enough to have a middle school baseball team last year, and so optimistic that those kids will continue to participate. So those are some things that we'll be asking the board to approve during action discussion items. That's all I have in this amazing questions.
Any questions? Okay, well, let's move into our discussion action items. Is there any discussion that anyone wants to have on any of those items?
Wayne, the only question I have, I know we talked about the project that we're looking at, and I think you mentioned that there was some extra in our 405 fund. Is that in this, the line item 400? Is that what we're talking about here that we already have estimated?
Yeah, for the
400,
project for the concrete removal and the site map would come out of 405.
And that's in there, that's already in these estimations? Like
No,
we added that in
there is money in that account
that we're not
to
using,
cover that.
that we're not using, that are already
Yes.
in this estimation? Okay. Because I see that it's really lean if there's not, if we're spending all that we said we were going to spend in the first place.
I understand, yeah. No, there's some projects that we were
Didn't
not
do.
able to complete this
Right.
summer, so there is money in there to cover this.
So are you looking for a motion for these two bids to get approved tonight, or is it?
Well, yeah, we need to, if we're going to approve them, that's
We
why,
need to-
do we need any discussion? That's why I was wondering, if anyone wants, is there anything you don't like, do like, or on any of these three?
Right now, we're just looking for a motion to remove the concrete slab and a site survey.
And
And
if
the
you want-
junior high
and,
sports.
And the softball, baseball. But as far as
Yes.
the facility project itself goes,
No, we are still trying to get this legwork done so we can
That's
get.
that we talked
But we
about
will definitely be bringing more
tonight.
things back to
And
the
we
board.
have the funds already in the 400 and 405 account.
Yeah.
And the bids themselves, we have to vote on a bid, or does it?
We
if
did
just
not-
approve it, you guys?
This is the board approving me to be able to sign the
Saying bid,
contracts.
okay.
And then spend that money.
I'll make a motion then, unless there's more questions. I'll make a motion to approve action items, discussion actions 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3.
Well, second.
We have a motion by Heather to approve 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3, and the second by Marcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's move to our consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agendas 9.1 through 9.7.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Heather to approve 9.1 through 9.7, and a second by Marcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will move to 10.0, staff and public comments. Have we received any?
Nope.
Okay, okay. Then we will move to 11.0, executive session to consider dismissal or discipline of, or to hear charges or complaints against an officer, employee, staff member, or agent if the individual does not request an open meeting, ORS 192.6602B, to consider information or records that are exempt from disclosure by law, including written advice from your attorney, ORS 192.6602F, to consult with your attorney regarding your legal rights and duties in regard to current litigation or litigation that is more likely than not to be filed, ORS 192.6602H. Okay. Gavel is back into open session and adjourn the meeting.